Hello everyone, and this is BioPhoenix here, and today we're going to be doing a video response to Gamez of War, which is a channel that I have been good friends with for quite a few years now. And he did a video a month ago tagging a bunch of people, and I was one of those people, and the video topic is Video Game Series Ongoing versus Dormant. So pretty much you just have to name and talk about two different game series, one that may have started out on a little bit either obscure or maybe a little bit on the niche side, but then later on as it progressed it just got better and got more popular, versus another one that started out really popular but then just died off over the years, and there's quite a lot of these that I can think of. So as always, you're more than welcome to do a video response to his video. So anyways, let's just get talking about the game series I want to talk about today. So let's talk about the series that started out a little bit on the obscure side, but then eventually got bigger as it went on. And the series I feel like fits this really well is a series that I do talk about pretty often, and that happens to be the Yakuza series. So let me tell you about my experience with this series. Now, I didn't play the very first one when it came out, but I did play 2, like, not long after it came out, because a friend of mine just gave me a bunch of his games, and that was one of the games that he had. And after looking at the back of the cover, I thought it looked cool, but I also thought it looked kinda similar to a GTA clone. Yeah, even I thought it was gonna be a GTA clone just from looking at the back of the cover, so I put it in and kind of like expecting it to be like a GTA clone, and well, I was wrong, like a lot of people that played these games. So it's a 3D beat 'em up with some RPG elements and a lot of cinematic cutscenes. Now sure, there is a big open map with some side quests that you can do, but here's the thing though, you can't like steal cars, in fact you can't even drive in the game, and also you can't beat up random pedestrians and have like the cops chase after you, so because of that, that's why I do not consider it to be a GTA clone, like at all. And weirdly enough, there are still people that actually still think that even to this day, even as big as this series has gotten. But anyways though, so yeah, I really loved this series a lot when I first played it back on PS2. For that, I thought it had a pretty cool story, the gameplay was fun, and of course there was just a lot of shit to do, and a lot of funny moments too, because that's the thing I love about the Yakuza series, is that it gives you a bit of both worlds, where you want to have like a really good serious story, it gives you that, but also if you want to have a ridiculous fun time by having like phone sex with some random chick, well, you could do that too. But as great as all this was though, unfortunately it took many years for the series to actually get some recognition over here, because when the first game came out, yeah, they tried to make this like a big budget, big deal type of game for that. Like I said, they tried to market it as like a GTA clone when yet it's really not. But also, they actually put a lot of budget into the voice acting, because it actually has like a lot of huge all-star cast, being like Mark Hamill as Majima. Like, that right there is pretty awesome, even though the voice acting in this game is definitely not great, but it was at least hilarious and amusing. And like I said, you get Mark Hamill, you even got Michael Madsen in there, and a bunch of others. So yeah, the first game had a very weird direction that you probably wouldn't expect it to be if you didn't know about that. But yeah, so eventually over time they decided to just leave it with just Japanese voice acting only. But they still struggled with marketing the game, because one thing to remember is that Sega during the 7th generation was probably like their lowest point ever for that. Not only were they just putting out a lot of like bad, shitty games like Sonic 06, but they really struggled to market a lot of their stuff that was actually good, like Valkyria Chronicles was a good example of that. But it wasn't until when Sega eventually owned the Japanese branch of Atlus, and that's where I feel like they actually got their shit together. Because anyone that's familiar with Atlus knows that they have been around for quite some time, but despite the fact that they've been around forever, they've always been considered as like that underground company that just knows how to put out some interesting, unique games. So in a lot of ways, I find that Atlus is very similar to the company Falcom, where they've been around for a very long time and even doing a lot of stuff that were very influential, but they never had like the huge amount of like success of something like a AAA company, but they still knew how to make a profit by marketing their games to a niche audience, and that's really what kept them afloat for all this time. Yeah, if only Bandai Namco was able to learn from this, and then we can actually get a Xenosaga trilogy like we asked for, but anyways, that's a whole other story. But back to the Yakuza series for a moment, is that yes, after the help of Atlus, they finally got their shit together and they were able to release these games in a way that actually makes sense. And now the series is bigger and more successful than ever, for that not only did we have like that huge big breakout title being Yakuza 0, which is one of my all-time favorite games in the series, but we also have all the games remastered on newer platforms being PS4, and some of them are on PC. And we also got some pretty cool spin-offs that are out there, such as like the Fist of the North Star one, and then we got Judgment, which looks really cool. And then of course we also got the newest entry in the series, which is like a turn-based RPG, which is so crazy to think, but yet it actually looks pretty awesome. I haven't played it yet, but it is one I'm very looking forward to. So yeah, seeing this series going back all the way from Yakuza 2 on PS2 all the way to now, it's pretty interesting to say the least that I was able to witness through this series during its growing pains. And I'm very happy to know that the series is still going strong after all these years and that it's finally gotten the recognition that it deserved. Alright, so now let's get more to the downside of this one. We're talking about a game series that started out pretty big, but unfortunately is pretty much dead in the water now. And there is quite a lot of these that I could mention, but here's the thing though, I know some of you are probably thinking, oh, you're gonna mention like Shadow Hearts, right? Well, no, as much as I love talking about that game, I gotta talk about other stuff. And besides, that series was never considered huge anyways, but yeah, so the one that I'm going to be picking today is a series that I haven't really talked that much about. I think the last time I mentioned it was probably in like a pickups video that I did like some time ago, so yeah, it's one of those kind of games. And the one that I'm picking for this is Dead Space. Yes, I would say Dead Space is a great example of this, and it's also a great series that I really loved a whole lot. So there was 3 main entries, 3 spin-offs, in fact one of them was a rail shooter, which was pretty cool and enjoyable. And then there was an action puzzle game that was done with a comic book style, which I've never actually played. And then there is a mobile game, which I'm sure 100% of you are super ecstatic about, right? Am I right? Okay, nah. Well anyways though, so yeah, you got all that, and plus you also had a comic book series, which like I said, with that one game, Ignition, and then there was 2 animated films, and all of this was done between 2008 till 2013. Like, if you really think about it, that's quite a lot of stuff that came out of this series in that short amount of time, so yeah, I'd say that's pretty damn huge. So yes, Dead Space is one of my favorite survival horror series, and it's also one of the best ones that you can get during the 7th generation, because I found that was like the one generation where the survival horror genre really took a downpour. Yeah, no pun intended. So the game's atmosphere was amazing. It was taken right out of an Aliens film, which is awesome. And of course, I also love like a lot of the creepy moments. In fact, I'd say the creepiest moment, in my opinion, would have to be in Dead Space 2, where you have to go to that creepy nursery section with all like the dead little kids. Yeah, that always creeped the shit out of me. And I also really love the game's combat for that. It pretty much felt like Resident Evil 4, but like a whole lot better and expanded upon. Plus, stomping on enemies never gets old. That shit is always satisfying. Even when you do it to a corpse, it's still fun as hell. And one little minor thing that I actually really do like a lot about this game that I didn't really see too much of was that this is a game where you don't really see a whole lot of your heads-up display, but yet they actually integrate it into the character. So, you know, you see the amount of ammo you have, like, off, like, the side of your gun, but then you also have your health bar is indicated on, like, the spine of your back. I always thought that was just really cool and creative. So that sums up the basics of what I love about the series, but yeah, like I said, the series started out really huge in popularity, but sadly, it all went away after when the 3rd game came out. Now, I will be honest, I never played the 3rd game, but the thing is, though, I've heard a lot of people, like, shit on it pretty badly for that. Not only did I hear some people say that the game was, like, severely toned down compared to the other 2, but also, like, it tried to have, like, a tacked-on multiplayer, which was just unnecessary. Because remember during that time when there was like a lot of random ass games that would try to have a multiplayer mode forced in there somewhere because oh my god, Call of Duty and Battlefield have multiplayer mode so we need to have it too. Yeah, like Assassin's Creed had that shit. Like anyone remember that? So yes, this game tried to have that, but obviously it just flopped really hard. And then after that, EA basically said fuck you to Visceral Games, and now Visceral Games is dead, and now that the series will probably never get a comeback, and if it does, I'd be shocked. But even if it did, I'm pretty sure it probably won't be the same. But I have a feeling that if the 3rd Dead Space game didn't flop as badly as it did, and if the publisher was not filled with a bunch of pricks, then I think that the series could have still continued and could have actually still been pretty strong, but like I said, that's just wishful thinking though. But yeah, that's the thing that's really depressing about this one, is that it started out really huge and big budget, but yet it was good for all the right reasons, but unfortunately the publisher just had to fuck everything up, and now like we don't get any of it. So there you go guys, those are the two game series I will be mentioning for this video response, and I have to say, it was pretty fun just to kind of look back from all those years ago and see how things progressed till now. So like I said at the beginning of this video, if you guys want to do a video response to this, you're more than welcome to do so. So anyways, with that said, thanks for watching and commenting, and have yourselves a great day.